shit, dog.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is the Matrix?
Start me from the top, man.
Maybe it's the weed got me. Maybe it's these trees got me. Maybe it's these hoes got me. Maybe it's the stroll that got me. Maybe it's these clothes got me. Maybe it's these laws got me. Maybe it's my dogs got me. Maybe it's these bras got me. Maybe it's this man that got me. Maybe it's my clan that got me. Maybe it's my fam that got me. My plans. The Matrix.
When I wake up in the morning, I wake up in the morning, putting my read in my Bible paper. Lord, I can see him later. Middle finger up, always screaming, fuck a hater. Chewing on them suckers like annihilator. No hip hop, this ain't rock and roll. This is real music, pop lock your soul.
All aboard! It is time to hop aboard my spaceship that you are now tuned into. What is the Matrix TV? I'm your host, Jason Elm Street Williams, coming back from the Mike Tyson fight. You know, and so let's get straight to it. We're gonna get into the intro for today. We're going to talk about the UFC and Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Kid Rock sitting next to John Jones winning the championship. And once again, the presidential election using media, internet, and marketing. And then the Mike Tyson fight. Was it rigged? Why was Tyson biting his glove like that? Is sports rigged? Is basketball rigged? Is football rigged? Is that why Las Vegas is linked to sports and gambling? SpaceX and the Starlight system. Recently, the Pentagon and the United States government once again has admitted to alien extraterrestrial life and the release of more footage from the Pentagon of UFO crafts and the admitting of extraterrestrial and aliens and all that. So we're going to get into that. Also, the movie with Charlie Sheen, Arrival, when the black kid was an alien and how the government was hiding alien bases all right in front of us. And we're going to get into books like Behold the Pale Horse. Elon Musk popularizing the robot rollout with celebrities like Kim Kardashian and 2 Chainz. Malcolm X's daughter suing the CIA, NYPD, and the government for factual evidence that the government and CIA conspired to murder Malcolm X. So no longer a conspiracy to claim that it was the Nation of Islam. It was the government. So we're going to get into that and much more, and always Thanksgiving and why we celebrate the genocide and murder of Aboriginal Indigenous people. And let's start it off with my beautiful goddess, Lana.
There we go.
Good with you? I see you.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay.
And we got a beautiful guest tonight, brother Cosmo, comedian.
What it is? Oh yes, I'm bringing the funny and the knowledge. Let's go.
And we got brother Sunra raining all the way from Atlanta.
What up, man? Ashok, peace. How y'all doing?
Peace, God. So let's
Peace.
first picture, that Tyson fight, Murdoch. Let's see the pictures. Let's get straight into it. Sports being rigged, the Tyson fight. First, I want to show love to the brother because we know how he was robbed of his money when he was younger, the youngest heavyweight champion of all time. But right here, as you go, we see throughout history them putting so-called black men in the ring after their prime to make money because they strip these men of money, whether it's taxes and all sorts of things, but always a troglodyte, a white man coming in trying to destroy a black man's legacy. So what do you guys think about sports being rigged? Do you feel that the fight with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was connected to the UFC and Donald Trump fight that we're gonna get into. And sports and entertainment, is it a circus? Does it control people? Does sports and entertainment keep people asleep? And do they use black men for the battery for their sports
To
organization?
answer those two questions, it's nothing but blacks in sports. So that's an obvious. If you want to say sports has been rigged, the mafia and gambling with sports has always been, and Michael Jordan was even involved with that. He took a loss for a gambling debt, so Nevada and all these places could make money. This is America. Name one thing that isn't rigged.
Do you think that his dad was linked to the gambling thing?
Was Cosby's son linked to him when they found him? Man, here in America, since we have media, they can push so many narratives that the points get lost almost every single time when we go back to cheeseburgers and the lottery. What it is, it's all a money making scheme. I mean, I'm not mad at Mike Tyson for making $20 million, but he did give up his dignity because I think he would have won the fight because my friend is one of the people that were helping him train, and I called him because I was trying to go to the fight and I didn't make it. He told me Mike Tyson was in such good form. Do you remember when George Foreman was fighting it really when he was old?
Yeah, same thing.
This is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson still holds 90% of the punches that he can punch with. That means he can still hit you with that 1,500 pounds of pressure in your rib cage.
Do you feel that he was holding back?
Yeah, he looked like it. Man, yeah. They had him do on that bag. Some of those bags that they punch and the trainers doing that, those are digital. They tell you how fast you were punching, how many uppercuts or how many reps you did, and how hard you hit. Mike Tyson was hitting that bag so hard.
If y'all pay attention to the fight, Tyson almost knocked him out.
The first round, go ahead.
He came in. I just saw the fight today, and he came in like ready to go. He wasn't like how the girls were. You know, they kind of were more like the first 2-3 rounds. They were kind of doing defense and dancing around each other. Mike Tyson came in like, yo, let's do this.
Did you notice he fought harder in practice than he did in the actual fight? When you saw him just working out, he was like jumping around the ring and he was popping that bag. You know how hard it is to move that bag at least 3 feet with one punch? Yeah. Everybody else just hits it and it wiggles.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson will move that bag.
And it's true. And then we got to look at his age, though. You know, after 2 rounds of boxing, I don't know how good his training was, but his legs seem old. The moment he stepped in the ring, it looked like his legs were like wobbly or something.
No, man, that was act. Have you seen that? Have you ever seen a 50-year-old dude that's been lifting weights in prison?
What this
man, let me tell you something. You remember Tukey Wilson or Tukey
Williams? Yes.
Yeah, that brother was still knocking people out in prison.
Yeah.
See, prison. Yeah, that ring fight is one. Prison is all year and all month you fighting that fool. Yeah. So age is really how you condition yourself.
Yep.
So get to that UFC Trump fight, Murdoch. Throw that picture up because it couldn't be a coincidence that the fights were back to back. You know what I'm saying?
Those girls fought harder than they did.
I was about to say that. I felt that was the best fight, and that girl kept headbutting her too.
Headbutting.
Man, I think they robbed that other girl too. So it was a rigged night for sports. They made billions.
Definitely, and that's what it's all about. It's a money grab. Once again, they say who's the greatest UFC fighter of all time? Arguably, John Jones.
Yeah.
So after he delivers a spinning roundhouse kick. Looked like he broke the dude's rib. He goes and starts doing the Trump dance, in a feminine way. So right then, for me, it emasculated him, and it took away the God superhero power. He runs over to Donald Trump and says, "You are my president," and he bows down to him. While Kid Rock, look at it.
Hey man, we're black in America. We're black in America. The best thing we do is sell out. We have to sell out.
So you could see Kid Rock if you guys look at the picture.
I saw that.
That's a racist artist. So
Yes,
you
he
see
is.
Kid Rock and you see Elon Musk, which we showed a picture last week of the Occupy Mars picture. And you see the brother and you see Donald Trump to the left put on his tough guy face. So that right there is a photographic memory picture to show the white man is still God. The white man is still in charge. The baddest, toughest black man still bows down to his so-called slave.
And we were talking about this. We were talking about this behind the scenes, Jason, when I was telling you, remember when we were kids, they had the police officers at the school because they were already trying to get us to believe and look at white people as their superior over us, even as kids. So they're starting this all over again. I know people love Donald Trump, but pay attention. They're rocking us back to sleep with this whole ideology that white people are above us and you're just a little Negro. And
Hey, girl.
And we ain't going for that. So we got to stay woke, okay?
Hey, this same thing happened with Jesse Owens. Remember when Jesse Owens beat the Russians in the Olympics?
The Germans, Adolf Hitler.
Yeah. Do you know after that they had Jesse Owens racing horses? Yeah. They had him doing all this monkey buffoonery after man. And then he died broke.
Do you guys remember the movie Last Boy Scout or the movie Blue Chips?
Yeah.
The movie Blue Chips was with Shaquille O'Neal and Nick Nolte, and that was showing you how they were shaving points in college basketball. We learned about Pete Rose. You've heard this stuff with Tom Brady and the deflated balls and different players. That's what Last Boy Scout with Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis was in. Talking about the Raiders when they were shaving points and all that stuff, and that's why the Raiders were supposedly cursed with Al Davis and stuff like that.
Hey man, do you know the 3-point shot was injected after basketball started?
What do you mean?
The 3-point shot wasn't in basketball when it first came out. When the white boys and the black boys integrated, they made the 3-point shot to give the white boys a chance. See, white people
they didn't have you couldn't slam dunk either.
Yeah. White people are. Hey, hold on. Let me use my white inhaler.
I can't.
All right. Okay, I can tolerate white people for 15 more minutes. There we go. Oh. On sale now with Cosmo.com. Get your white inhaler. If you need 2 forms of ID, spray this.
So we're talking about health. Put on that McDonald's, Donald Trump, JFK.
Ooh, my favorite.
For the first time in my life, in the driveway, there was a McDonald's flyer. Elon Musk to buy McDonald's. But wait a second, isn't JFK the new health commissioner? What are you doing showing that you're eating McDonald's? Okay, if it's once, twice, that's fine. But if we're all about health in America, if we're all about making America great again, why is the health commissioner who said he's going to take out all these poisonous foods and stuff out of the system is promoting
the most dangerous food in the world?
Well, what they gonna do with all those bodies then? I mean, where they gonna put up? Never mind.
Well, I remember in college we watched a documentary
about those coffins in Idaho. Yeah, they got them prepared. They got to wait to bury 10 million people.
I wasn't gonna say that, but I was gonna say how the Jewish community, this documentary we watch. This is before YouTube, so like a lot of the DVDs you would get were more underground back then, and it was showing how the Jewish community, not all, but they were part of the kidnapping and also part of McDonald's, and that they would put human meat in McDonald's, and that was part of the sacrifice of the bull and the cow and all these basically spiritual rituals that they do with fast food and cows. Because when you go to different countries, Hathor, which is a cow deity, it's sacred. You know, in certain countries, if you run over a cow, you're cursed, or a bull. You can't kill those deities. So it's interesting that we eat so much meat in America, also because of the troglodytes environment, because for me, we are a different species. But let's talk.
They're printing meat. They're printing meat now.
Wow.
Yeah, they are
Have you
making
seen
meat
that?
out of plastic.
I saw it, man. I saw that ad. They had a computer. They used the blood of other animals. And once you have the blood of anything, you can create a fleshy matter. So they're pushing it through with a laser, burning it, ionizing it, putting it together with whatever vitamins and minerals. Some of it doesn't even have any protein or any like value for your body. It's just sustenance. That's crazy.
And if Elon Musk buys McDonald's, and we're gonna put in the Elon Musk tequila brand, what if they start putting nanobite technology in the food if they already haven't? I remember Method Man in the 90s was talking about how they were putting nanobites and stuff already in the food. So if Bill Gates controls most of the farmland, if Elon Musk and them start controlling the food, just like Cosmo pointed out, 3D printing food from machines like they're in Star Trek. What are we eating right now then?
Hey, do you know why I'm not worried about none of this? Do you know why I'm not worried about none of this? Everything happens on the world and we destroy everything. This has happened so many times. This is the new age of destruction. Right now, they're gonna do it right in front of your face. It's not gonna be with some ill device or they're gonna do it. People are gonna do it on their own. They're gonna consume so much stuff, it's gonna destroy them, and we're gonna start all over again. It always happens. The earth is gonna destroy itself because of what we're doing to it. We're gonna be right along with it. This goes to a spiritual matter. The universe always knocks off the extra flack off of its skin and off of its atmosphere and all these things. Clouds do it, dirt does it, animals do it, people do it, they shed. Everything sheds after a while and it destroys itself or what it was for a very long time.
So what do you feel with Donald Trump electing Vince McMahon's wife as the new Secretary of Education?
He's a player for him. He's a player for him. You don't pick people on your team like this podcast. You went to your people that you know we're going to do.
I don't think you guys understand what I'm saying. Do you guys know who Vince McMahon is? The WWF?
Yes.
His wife is now in control of the United States of America's education. And her first duty is to, she said, and Trump said, is to destroy and eradicate the current Department of Education. Now, is that a good thing? Because we know that the education system is trash.
Yep.
So for one, they're gonna eradicate that, but they're gonna put it into the hands of the state. And so the goal of that for them would be to create more private schools and charter schools and independent studies so parents can have control of their kids' education. But before you guys interject, but when it comes to public school education, because a lot of our people cannot afford to do homeschooling and such things, what's going to happen when, like they said, the first duty of the act is to make sure that they take away, that they said slavery, and take away any nonprofit or school that is non-patriotic or doesn't go with the Constitution. So what do you guys feel about the reforming of education in the hands of Vince McMahon's wife?
I see a lot of revised books again. I feel like the educational
Say that again. Say that again.
As a world, how do you, to me or Lana?
No, she just hit the nail on the head. She said, every book says revised on it in our schools. It does that so many times from history. When they finally put black people in it, all it showed was slavery and some dude that invented the traffic light. That was fine. But there's nothing else beyond that, beyond America, who we are, how long we've been here, our culture, nothing.
So it's like it brings back. It's like they're
okay, that and the homosexual agenda in school, Like all the books, like I Saw Daddy's Penis and all that. Yeah, those books need to go. And that's the first thing Trump said. So I hope he does that at least, what he said.
So
Because
that's what he planned. That's what they say they plan on doing, which is great.
Yes.
Because I'm not really for kids going to school saying I identify myself as a cat and I want to eat cat food.
None of that shit.
So let's fix that out and let's get back to. They're going to basically put it back to the way it was. That's what I feel. It's going to go back to the way it was when we were going to school. It's still going to be a controlled environment. They're still not going to be able to be free and talk about the truth. It's still going to be, hey, you came from slaves. When I do my genealogy, there's no slaves in my family. My grandfather was indigenous to this land. He came from Oklahoma. He was raised on a reservation. So they're going to go back to the indoctrinating. I feel like they're literally taking it into their hands and they're going to make it about how it was when we were growing up again. So,
hey, Jason, as an educator, what would you do in that situation if a child asked you a question and the whole class was listening? Would you tell him what was in the book or would you tell him what was true?
So that's why I'm getting my doctorate now.
You're an educator. I'm just saying, what would you do in that situation? Would you spill the beans or would you go along with the curriculum?
You'll lose your job if
you
go against the curriculum. So now you're no longer teaching students to that capacity. You're still able to show love, compassion, and do lesson things. But
if he asked you,
oh, you know what? When I started, I tried to tell the truth as much as I could, and you get in trouble. Our teacher would come and be like, "Yo, little Tommy said Mr. Williams said he didn't believe God." And then
you teach them how to find the information for themselves. That's what you do.
Right.
And Mr. Williams told me that everything started in Egypt, sir. Yeah. You get his ass in here right now.
But one of the toughest things I felt that when I
white people inhaler. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
At one time when you witnessed when I was substitute teaching and all that, I started getting depressed because I saw the problem. I'm getting all this information.
Yeah, those kids really liked you, bro. Those kids really liked you.
But the thing that sucked is that I'll say that the so-called black kids were the worst students. They were the smartest students by far. By far, when given the opportunity, I don't care what anybody says, the black kids are the smartest kids. When you give them an equal opportunity, you clearly see that there is a difference in intellect, not just sports. We're not just superior in sports. We're also superior in intellect when given an equal opportunity. The problem lied in is that the curriculum of a kid 4th, 6th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th grade, he doesn't have a hero to look up in the history books outside of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, which we'll get into. They are taught a loser position, and your so-called troglodyte, pale-skinned European white classmates, they're taught that George Washington owned slaves, raped black women, had sex and was a pedophile with kids. You look at the dollar bill, and that's when the racism started, because you're teaching white kids that really white men that it's okay to be a criminal, it's okay to go around murdering people, people.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head. I wonder why America has that war, death, perversion mentality, because it's been woven into their culture for so long. I mean,
the education system. So when you hear the troglodytes or the pale-skinned Europeans talking about slavery now, you have to listen and pay attention. Elon Musk is going to be a part of this, but he also said that all people were slaves. It's just who were slaves most recently, because what they're still trying to hide is that the fact that they were brought here as slaves first. And that's what we got taught in school. We were not taught. They said that the Irish were immigrants or indentured servants, right? But they didn't teach us that they were slaves. They didn't teach us the Mesoamerican part of our Aboriginal history. They didn't, when they showed the ancient Egyptians, they didn't enforce it in everyone's head that they were so-called African, so-called black people. And so in everyone else's mind, they look at us as nothing, as slaves. And the only value in this society on the top level is pretty much is if you're a celebrity.
Well, we accept any information tossed at us. As Black people, like this is why I said, when you don't have anything, a foundation that you can spread amongst your own people, you will not have the regular structures in life. Like there's a lot of restaurants in every culture. There's German food, there's Thai food, there's all these things that example their culture. We have very little of that. So to identify with ourselves is a task in itself. This is why we try so hard to identify with our slave masters, because we see that they have it going on. We want it going on. But the organization, like, there's no Black supermarkets, none of that. I just don't see why the organization isn't there with a lot of us knowing this.
Well,
let's normalize calling it mental illness and not racism.
We have a mental illness.
Well,
we hate each other. We hate each other.
I'm talking about the troglodytes, because if you're a six ether being, you're not complete. So you have a mental illness. It's incomplete. There's some things in there now.
Give us an example, Ed. Give us an example of what they're not complete at.
Sunra, what
up?
You said, I'm here. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Who's that calling in?
Caller on the line.
Somebody's calling in. What's good with you? Who's this? Introduce yourself. Let us know where you're coming from.
State your name.
Are you there?
I think he hung up.
It says JoJo, but they're not saying it.
Oh, brother JoJo, are you there?
I'm sorry, you guys. I was sitting down and I was running to the other room. What's going on, man?
What's up now?
What's up, JoJo?
How y'all brothers and queens, and how you feeling, man? How you feeling?
You're doing good. Have you
feeling like $1 million?
Are you up to date on what we're talking about?
Hell no. I was about to try not to ask and be rude, but I'm super interested. What happened?
Well, right now we're breaking down the Tyson fight, how it was rigged, connecting it to the UFC fight with John Jones and Trump, basically showing how they utilize and use Black men as a battery to their organizations and their industries, but also showing as the white man as God through these platforms, subtly through Mike Tyson losing, through John Jones bowing down to Donald Trump, to the WWF's owner, Vince McMahon's wife, being now head of education for the United States. And then we even broke down McDonald's, Elon Musk possibly buying it.
Hold on, brother Jason. That's a lot to take in. I got some of those. But one thing I do want to jump in, because I was there when you said it, but I didn't have the opportunity to speak on it. I would love to talk about this situation that happened with Jake Paul. I think this is a virtuous moment in an ugly way to receive it. It's like when someone gives you some cologne, but it ain't the one you want, but the gift was nice. Steve,
right, but
back in the day, you all seen it on Django. They used to pay niggas to kill each other off of a sport.
Okay.
So now you take the Mandingo of Mandingos, the iconicness, and you have the white man go beat him, but the white man has placed himself in the ring with niggas fighting in a ring over nothing but a bell that rings every 12 minutes. Let that sink in. I really think it's funny how, excuse me, how even though he did take the victory, that still was a clear. Y'all ever read the book Culture Vultures?
Yeah.
Culture Vultures by Damien Dash. That right there is a prime example of you taking something that came from an ugly part of our history and making it a business, just like they did Sarah Barnett and her fat old booty. This has been an ongoing thing for eons, that we create or we participate in some type of sports. I mean, think about it. Black people get the most money on entertainment, sports.
Yo, talk to Mike, bro.
Huh?
No, Sun Ra, we can hear him in the background.
Oh, and in that time that we participated in these sports and things like that, we isolated and segregated ourselves to say that that's our thing. But in reality, the more that we have these conquistadors and these white people who win these, the more we will not be isolated and segregated. This will now become a group effort sport, and it will be it will be advertised different. So it's weird. You kind of lose the that's our guy, but you kind of are being freed from slavery. But the only slavery I see is the black people trying to hold on to the belief of they have to be mad because he was just some YouTuber and he's white. We all know it's a systematic game that's designed for not us. So why are we gonna act like we're surprised? I'll wait for a response.
I hear you, bro. We already went on that subject, so before we get in back to that, let's get back into the UFO president secrets with Donald Trump. I think we should have just kept going. You kind of threw us backwards with that
My
one.
bad, gang. I got excited. My bad.
You know, but yeah, we definitely already went over that. But we agree with you. Did anyone want to else chime in, or do you guys want to go forward?
He had some very interesting points. He was historical and factual, so I liked it.
Definitely. Good point, JoJo. So throw up the UFO presidents and secrets with Donald Trump. So here we are once again. So we showed the Jake Paul, we showed the Elon Musk. We see that ever since Donald Trump elect has been in so-called office, even though he hasn't been inaugurated, we see Elon Musk popping up. And then we see, why are the U.S. presidents hiding UFO secrets? Because once we go to this picture with the Pentagon, I don't know if everyone's been paying attention to the news, but hundreds of new incidents of the Pentagon have been reported. Recently, the United States government and Pentagon has released more footage of UFO files, and also an official meeting took place last week to where the government officially recognized that they have found bodies, that they have bodies. They also speak of how the government has been reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology, how they have technology to shoot down UFOs. They confirmed things like Area 51 to Roswell. And then they also confirmed that the U.S. government was part of a secret military project of abducting Americans. And so the government will come in certain alien suits and stuff like that and literally use this ancient technology and extraterrestrial technology to abduct people. Coincidentally, you hear about the troglodytes and pale skin people being abducted and them having certain experiences versus a lot of melanated people who have the opposite experience. So what do you guys feel about the revealing once again with the Trump, Elon Musk, the Neuralink, Elon Musk talking about the colonizing of Mars, and right now the government saying that UFOs are real and aliens are real? These are things that were called crazy just a few years ago, but now slowly but surely they're letting everybody know it's not a conspiracy. Aliens are real. There's technology out there that we do not have. What do you guys feel about that, knowing that extraterrestrials are real?
Well, I feel it's going to be a change. It'll be a change for the planet. I know that because they'll probably see us and think of us as a race that's just not even worthy. To be honest with you, we fight. We have arguments over the basics things as far as survival. So if aliens come, either they're going to take us over or they're going to find us, not appealing at all. That's what I think.
Are you speaking for yourself?
Yeah, I'm about to say that's you, because that's again, that's what the so-called matrix or the so-called enemy wants to think. We are not them. This is why I say that even in the UFO movies, they're worried about them because they're about to get their ass kicked by our ancestors. We're not part of their wars. That's them. And that goes back to the education system, Cosmo. We are not a disgusting people. We are beautiful people who are enslaved in our own land, who are given a false education system, a false God, a false religion, and basically misinformation about ourselves.
Which answers your question earlier, Cosmo, when you asked me about mental illness. So anybody that wants to go to war and always is wanting to fight and is always constantly in competition, that's a mental illness, because we're loving people. We're naturally loving people. We're not trying to fight. We will if we need to, which is what's going to happen.
Good at it.
But that's not how we get down. So I think that's what he's trying to say. We don't get down like that.
I get that. That's a good point.
Have you ever, Sun Ra, Lana, Cosmo, Jojo, have any of you ever experienced an alien contact, a ghost, UFO contact?
Yep, all day.
No, I can't say that I have.
Paranormal activity. So
well, I mean, I got a good story for you guys. You know, you got the right one on the phone. Now, I have two things. I won't say it too long because I know people, they stop listening after, someone start talking. Now, when I passed away a few years ago, you guys, I had this accident where I got turned into a ping pong ball in front of some cars. And on the last hit, I kind of just died. So by the time that they called the ambulance and by the time that I got resuscitated and stuff like that, I went to this strange place. I don't really know what you want to call it. We'll just call it the I don't know place. So I go to this place where I'm greeted by this big deity, as you'd call her, and she looked like an alien, triangular eyes. And at that place, she got to show me different.
Put on the picture of Arrival while he's talking.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? But at that time, when I first got there, it looked like kind of like Earth. It looked like something similar, but very, very foreign from. Everything looked so unusual, unnatural, but it was similar enough for where you don't feel too alarmed. And then the deity then kind of asked me questions, and we explored each other's minds. But in the time of that, I love that picture.
The GIF will play where the black kid turns into an alien.
Yeah, and in that time,
and speed it up. So we don't have forever, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to speed it up. And in that time, the deity basically broke down the cosmic secrets. I mean, the things that men don't really have access to knowing and things like that. And then when I woke up from the coma, I was paralyzed, but I would have visions through the couple months that came back. And then a year and a half after that, I went skydiving. So I would say that was the most alien-like experience I've ever had, but I don't know if everyone or if someone on the feed has had a similar experience.
What did the deity tell you when you had your near-death experience?
The deity didn't tell me a lot. I was more so asking. The deity only really told me like two things: were you afraid of me, and why are you here? That kind of went into something deeper, and everything that went off of that conversation or anything that I had seen came from self. Like I said, well, what was the beginning of Earth? How did that start? And then you see that and you say, okay, well, what does that spirit do? What does this spirit do? And by the time that you are about to wake up, or at least I was going to wake up, I had accumulated so much esoteric knowledge there. I'd never really found the proper place to implement that stuff.
And so that's where we get into the education system, y'all. That's where really a lot of our people are failing, and why the education system needs to be reformed. And we have to educate our own people, is because this is what we call the mystery schools. When you travel to ancient Kemet, or what you call Egypt or Tamaret today, you see not just the pyramids, but you see the ancient temples, which are ancient universities. Certain universities and temples are dedicated to the human body. Certain ones are dedicated to learning about the celestial beings. Certain cities are dedicated to cultivating bees. You know, certain cities are learning about the dream world. So everywhere you went on the planet was like an ancient mystery school. If you wanted to learn how to fly, you had to go to this school, this school, this school. If you wanted to learn how to be a masonry builder, you had to go to this school and this school. So I feel what JoJo went through was like a mystery school. You know, a lot of us can have near-death experiences. People do it through meditation, and a lot of us do it through psychedelics, plant medicine, fungus. That's another way to tap into decalcify your pineal gland and raise your frequency so your vision and your hearing and your whole avatar body gets heightened. This is when you see our ancestors tapping in to different realms, communicating with these extraterrestrial beings that literally vibrate right now amongst us,
Right
that are
next to you.
eventually gonna merge the dimension soon.
Mhm.
Certain beings that are here right now are going to be visible because the frequency is simply going to change.
Hey,
And
real
so
quick, brother
If they
Jason,
already aren't visible
I,
right now.
when
I have a
people
question
trip
for you.
out,
I
so
have a question
and it
for
was
you, real
this, when
quick.
people trip out on certain psychedelics, it's not that they're seeing something that's not there, it's that there's no mystery schools open. So when the troglodytes came amongst us, we taught them in some of our mystery schools and let them in through peace. Then they murdered us and committed genocide amongst our people once we talk about Thanksgiving. But go ahead. And so basically, with the end of the mystery school system, it's the end of an education system, and it's the end of a reality. And no longer those realities exist, and they become mythology and mysteries. And now we're living in a world where that's being revealed again as true. So go ahead, brother.
Real quick, to stay on
Sunrise,
topic of
there.
stay on topic of the what you said about the presidency and
Yeah,
exposing
I'm
the
right here. I'm
secrets
right
and
here. I'm
things
right
like
here.
that.
I'm right here.
I think my only point that I'd love to add to that, because it is an honor to be on your feet, and I
I'm
don't
right
want to
here.
take up too much time. I think that when they said years ago, when black man was 3/5 man, the black man was afraid to ask where they came up with that conclusion.
I
Black
agree.
the
Go
the
further.
the black man is one of the only, and black women, black people period, are one of the only foreign species who are able to actually and successfully create, finish, and end the process of photosynthesis. The black person is the only person who has enough carbon within their body for us to make a Glock pistol. We have so many extraterrestrial things about us to where they hide. In my opinion, I think they hide the extraterrestrial stuff because as soon as we get far enough into that book, we're gonna start looking at pictures of people who look like you and me, and that's gonna be a bigger argument and problem than if we find out they're gray aliens and that's just the only type of species. Because what is there? 213 types of species of aliens that we're aware of, including the octopus.
Well, there you go. They say the octopus is also an extraterrestrial being. So let's put on that book, Behold the Pale Horse. Did you ever read that, JoJo? And you're absolutely right. We have extraterrestrial DNA, but there was a show called Alan Strange. If you could pop that one on, that was on Nickelodeon. That was showing us that black people and black boys, for me, were extraterrestrials. If you guys can ever go to YouTube, this is my favorite show at the time it was on, and it was about a young black boy who was a being of light. He came down in a spaceship with his family, and they were light beings. And the government saw that there was a spaceship that had crash landed in the forest. And so when the government came, they started scrambling to the spaceship, and the little one got lost, and the spaceship had to take off. And so he morphed into a black boy. And so he was trapped on Earth.
What's the name of that?
The show is called Alan Strange. It was on Nickelodeon. It
Never
was
heard of it, which is
yeah,
so crazy.
So
yeah,
you're saying, so basically you saying that he was a being of light and then became a black boy.
correct. And
So according to our doctrine, um, that's what you started as an Ethereum, and then you personify as a Nubian. So that's interesting that you said that.
I tell everybody to watch that show. If you guys haven't seen the show Alan Strange, put it up one more time, Murdoch. Next time I would even show you guys the intro. It even shows everything I said. And if you look to the left, the Alan part where the guy with the glasses is on, Alan is in the alien language. So for me, a lot of these, once again, TV shows give us truth about who we are. But Jojo, you were touching on more the alien aspect again. Ask the question again. I kind of got distracted after you'd asked me a question and you were talking about alien DNA. Murdoch, can you put up that alien DNA code that they just found as well while we're on this subject?
Yeah, so as I was saying, and even when you go into, you look down to the fibers of the DNA and the RNA, and you look at the similarities or the differences between someone who is not has as much melanin within inside their skin versus someone on the opposite end, even on that aspect of extraterrestrial, I think it is very, very unusual how Black people have this in comparison. Some dolphins, I believe, yeah, I believe it's dolphins. They connect through sonar, so they put little wah 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 through the water and they hear it, but it's almost like telekinesis. Like they're not opening their mouths and saying it. It's just a sound they can make. Black people are so connected and we're so unified when we would like to be. When we get into a dance and we get into pocket and we're jamming, we're playing instruments, we're doing that. We have so many things about us other than what's portrayed on the media. And as you know, as far as like the physical nature, we're very alien-like. That's why I feel like when Trump's threatening to show all this alien stuff, is it really going to be a threat to the democracy of America for you to find out there's an alien?
It's a threat to them.
It's a threat to them.
And when you're talking about the dolphins, when I studied with the Zulus when I was in Africa, they taught me that our ancestors are dolphins and that the word Zulu means people of the stars. And so the teachings were as extraterrestrials, of course, we're experimenting on, let's say, whether it's different planets, different land masses, the stars, in different laboratories, just like we would do here. And so in order for our avatar to get to this planet, we had to put that cell and embryo in the waters. So we use the dolphin, which is a mammal, as the mothership or the vessel. And so we put that embryo in the dolphin gave birth to that, developing into the mermaid, and then eventually getting onto the land and turning from the greenish, bluish colors through the oxygen and all that to the bronze skin you see. And that's why when you look at Osiris, when you go on the walls of Kemet, he's green. And that's why even Dr. York teaches that we are the little green men, and that we were green at first, but because of the oxidation, once again, when the troglodytes came, they dammed up a lot of the rivers and waters. If you guys remember the lumberjacks, they cut down the majority of the trees, which changed the oxygen, which changed the air, which changed how we eat, our diet, which changed our skin tone. So we rusted. And that's where we became bronze from green.
So we should be learning how to speak dolphin and not Spanish. Can you imagine if we spoke dolphin, what they would be telling us? Because there's so much going on down under the water. Yeah. They're gonna tell us something. They're like, yo, your kingdom's down here. It's in the water.
And you want to know what's funny?
He said speak dolphin.
I love how he touched on the facts of the trees, because I'm trying to recall where the location of it is. But
South Africa, where they chopped down the tree of life.
Yeah, kind of like the movie Avatar, when they chopped down the tree of life and it changed up the whole entire sequence of events as though a domino effect. It took the tree over 2 million years to build or to grow, so it would take another 2 million for it to regrow. So you're kind of in that pivotal time. But my point is on that, the size of that alone gave you a better description on how big the world was. Like humans, there was that old story in the Bible about the Nephilim. Now, I don't know if what your faith is, nothing like that, but the story is just a copycat of what a side of history was. But the Nephilim were nothing but a bunch of us. They say, well, how do you float the pyramids and how do you do this? If you were to imagine that humans were double the size that we are now, the idea of building the pyramids, especially
double Metatron was the biggest one.
He said what?
Metatron. He was 45 feet tall.
So if you're 40,
he was the Hebrew archangel. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So if you're 40 feet tall and there's a brick that's only 20 feet tall. That's about you moving a cylinder block, just about, no? A little bit smaller. That would have been
They're
more to your
definitely
knee, but
giants. They were definitely giants back in the day. And now we see NBA players who are 7'8", 7'10", 7'2", 300 pounds. When you go
so going back to that alien, I mean, I don't know, you guys. We possess a lot of foreign alien like things. Mind you, white is the white the color of the white sperm can only produce the color white. A black sperm or a sperm coming from the black person can create any color of the shade from yellow to red to white to horchata to albino. We can make green eyes, blue eyes. We can do anything we want. And black is the only color, as far as black people, who are able to produce somebody. Your daddy could look like Kunta Kinte and your other one could look like Wesley Snipes, but somehow you're going to come out looking like Sade. How's that happen?
Green eyes, red
You know,
hair, freckles.
but when you put it in a perspective like that, the only other animal on Earth who's able to shapeshift those types of colors is an octopus. And that is the closest thing they have to an alien, a live alien, as of current today.
Isn't that crazy? Because remember in Men in Black when he was giving that lady was giving birth.
So the octopus looking
Yeah, there's
baby.
an octopus that came out. That's funny you said that, JoJo.
wow.
We can pop out
Men
any
in Black. Go
color.
ahead. And with that, lets you know, and so that's the insanity that they teach us with the media, school, the Jesus worship, to eradicate these conversations. Us being the gods, us coming from dolphins, us coming from the stars, us being the extraterrestrials, us being connected to nature as solar people, people of the sun. So if they distract us, if they put us in education system schools where we have fake lights underneath us, where the paint is made of lead, and we're learning that we're nothing but slaves, and that the white man is God, and that he and like it, how insane is
And then
that?
you get to scan your hand now when you go buy groceries.
And now instead of reading books, instead of having to go through page by page, people can click on YouTube and the internet and get the ending of the story without actually learning the process, without actually having to read each line to really learn how to get there. So what they're doing is dumbing down the society. They're popularizing criminal activity once again for the troglodytes. Donald Trump being president, a known criminal, once again reiterating the fact that they can do anything that they want. And that's where we're at. And so once again, if they could control the space frontier, they could control once again the new reality, because this is all the alien stuff. All these things that Trump and Elon Musk are doing are basically new applications, new thoughts, new ideas that were not in the matrix or not in the mainstream. So right now it's the revelation of Aquarius, just like the Pluto just went into Aquarius. So being that Pluto is the furthest so-called planet that they recognize, I don't know if they still do, but that means that Pluto, that hidden deep scorpion information, is coming into the waters, and it's going to flood and give life to the planet. So this is going to be the new cool. Love, higher consciousness is going to be the new cool. And here we go into Thanksgiving. We're living in a society where pale-skinned Europeans actually believe that this is their land. They actually brag about being Americans, and they create these holidays in replacement of when we celebrated, but then they create a massacre like genocide, colonialism, exploitation in the blood of us as indigenous Aboriginal people. But once again, if they can make us think and believe that all of us came from Africa as slaves, we will forget that this is our land, and we will forget that the so-called Native Americans here are Asians, and that the original people of the land, of all lands, are dark-skinned, olive-tone, copper-tone, woolly-haired people. And you can see the evidence of the old world when you start studying ancient America. Because before the troglodytes and the pale-skinned Europeans took over, there were buildings here already. Because the Native Americans, they taught you in school that they lived in teepees. They didn't tell you that they were the Olmecs in the Washita. Because then if they went in depth with the Olmec statues in Mexico, it will once again raise a question and be like, wait a second, those people look like me. But you're saying I came from Africa, but the pyramids in Mexico resemble the pyramids in Africa. And you would do further research and you would see that you were already here. And we were time traveling. We were building pyramids. We were building stargates. So there is advanced civilizations on other planets, on other land masses, whether it's in different domes underneath the ocean or in outer space. Because when you understand the pyramids and the education system of the past, and you see that the troglodyte is on the verge of space travel, imagine what our ancestors already accomplished. So they already built space stations on Mars. They already have walked through stargates. And that's what this government is trying to do. They're trying to hide our ancient technology away from us and use distractions like education, the sports, religion, media. So when these events start occurring, you are thinking it through their perspective, not understanding that the help of the extraterrestrials that are coming are to free us. Because the moment their world is destroyed, we're free. And no one pretty much probably in history is going to allow the troglodytes to be in power ever again to this capacity. And that's why they're doing whatever it takes to hold on to Western civilization, because this is the last stronghold of the so-called pale-skinned European white man reality as being supreme. Because once the truth comes out that alien, which it is, but people are so worried about Trump and bullshit. No one every day is saying, man, they just said that aliens are real.
They say it straight up in your face. You could rewind it. I just heard them say so. I was like, yo, they're telling us straight up in your face. But people still don't want to believe it. It's crazy.
You hold on real quick to piggyback off of that. To stay on topic, but
Kardashian robot while he's talking.
But to stay on topic, but to drift in a little bit. Let's say hypothetically, for the benefit of those who are watching who are Christians, let's say that this omniscient Jesus comes down on this flying chariot.
Ooh, behold a pale horse while he says it. Go ahead.
This flying chariot horse, and it's coming out of the sky from a foreign place. Wouldn't that be an extraterrestrial? And would you think that they would truly run to it and think of it as a savior, or would they run in fear?
I'd be scared shitless personally. If
I would too.
I was already scared as a kid growing up.
So how Jason just
preparing.
So how Brother Jason just said. So how Brother Jason just said how you'll see it through their lens versus seeing it through your own spiritual godly lens. You would have viewed the occurrence in two separate ways. In the end times of revelation just means rebirth. So in the rebirth, it's not going to be white versus black. It's going to be conscience versus ignorant. There's going to be a lot of people who look just like you for some reason who aren't going to be able to catch the wind. Yep. You guys seen the movie Django, Samuel Jackson. There's going to be a lot of them. You see it on YouTube all the time. Have you seen these police officers who are black and they be super rough with another brother?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really make any linear sense. But I digress.
No, that's what we call mental illness. They made our people like them. That was the goal, to lower our frequency to the level of the pale-skinned troglodyte. For us to accept their culture, their ways. We have forgotten that we come from a beautiful culture. We've forgotten that we come from astrologists, archaeologists, scientists. We are the original teachers. We taught them how to talk and walk.
We got so busy saying nigga, we forgot how to pronounce nigga.
Naga.
Well,
we know the timeline. Here's the thing.
The Gullah Geechee and Black Indian Wars, y'all, because we were taught that we just came as slaves. But if you learned that we are the Seminoles, Choctaw, Washita, and that they lightened up these pictures of the true American Indians, we never actually stopped fighting. If they had put it in the books that the Gully Geechee Wars, the Seminole Wars, the Indian Wars, all these wars were so-called Black people were fighting for our culture, fighting for our freedom. If we learned that the troglodytes, the pale-skinned Europeans, didn't get into power till about the mid 1700s, 1800s,
which is when the books are all started in the schools,
right? And so they painted a false reality in our minds through the education system, through religion and the TV.
Can I just say something? But I homeschool my daughter. And because I homeschool her, I'm able to help her connect a lot of dots. At 12 years old, she can see the bullshit for what it is in this world. Whereas if she were to go to a public school and they're indoctrinating her with all this, lies, she wouldn't see what I'm telling her. She wouldn't notice the things that I'm showing her. So there's a new timeline that's been created, and these troglodytes, your so-called new president and Elon Musk, are creating a new timeline for you. So since they're creating a new timeline, we need to be doing the same thing. We need to be manifesting and creating our own timeline, like they're creating one for themselves, and they're trying to get you to follow along with them. So when it comes to the school system, if you can't homeschool your child, because I get people have to work, you have to take the extra time, family, and and educate your children about the truth, because I promise you they're going to be revising these books again, and they're going to be indoctrinating your children with lies, and they're going to teach our children that they come from slaves, and we don't come from slaves. We were here first.
Hey, Queen, I would love to piggyback
on
real
that
quick.
Malcolm X picture before we close it out. With Malcolm X's daughter suing the CIA and NYPD. As we
Jojo said he needed to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to piggyback on that. I've been working at the school for some time, and I would love to say that I spend a lot of time with the underprivileged Black African Americans. And when I go and I pull them to the side and I cuss them out like a big brother, then I tell them I care about you, it seems like that's something that's a new experience for them. Like the only thing that the generation, as far as now, especially being within public system, is the music and all of the environment around them. It's too much going on for them to be able to become sufficient, productive members of society. Like it's really true. You have to spend a lot of quality time with your children and teach them how to say yes, no, this is this, because I promise you they're not going to learn it at school. Whoever taught them how to say yes, be respectful, and understand the curriculum that's being presented. They pass these kids on whether they know the curriculum or not.
Exactly. And that's what Malcolm X was saying in teaching. He was saying that it's basically foolish to send your kids to enemy school. So daughter of civil rights activist Malcolm X sues the FBI, CIA, and NYPD for $100 million over his 1965 assassination. Claims they knew about the plot to kill him, but did nothing to stop it. And so once again, we know that the CIA, the government, was a part in orchestrating the assassination for Malcolm X. So is $100 million worth us being put into a new timeline, y'all? Just like Lana was saying, because this is what they're doing. They're changing our destiny, and that's what the Vatican Church called it, manifest destiny. By them murdering us as Aboriginal people, erasing our culture, having our people assimilate, knowing that one day when they wake up to this dream world, whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, January, whatever time slot, on the time you lock in, they have a distraction for you at stake. And that's what we call the matrix and the distraction. So we'll start closing it out, but this gives an example of why we need our own leaders, we need our own organizations, we need our schools, our own institutions, So before I close it out, Sunra, Lana, Cosmo, JoJo, give us something brief while we close it out.
I feel enlightened a little bit, and as every time I take a step towards enlightenment, and I'm around brothers like you and sisters like you, I feel a little bit better that I can, survive, and I want to be more knowledgeable. So I had a great time once again.
I'll be passing around the offering basket.
Hey, hopefully.
I'd love to say I appreciate you guys' time. And one little food for thought I'd love to remind everyone that for food, something for the mind is health is wealth.
Yes.
Eat good, think good, have good thoughts, and educate yourself on how to become a better you day by day. I know we're fighting against the big system, but the system we're fighting against before all that is ourselves. So don't be afraid to learn new things, let some things go, and start fresh. It don't matter how old you are, don't matter where you are. Let's pick up the pace, let's do better, and let's lift each other up.
And be sure to get your white people inhaler. It helps you deal with white people. Watch it.
I ran out. I need a prescription.
It feels good.
Mental illness is real. Okay.
Come on the show again, JoJo, and let's do a topic on mental illness, Black mental health, planetary mental health, and how we can become better people to become an intergalactic civilization once again. And brother Sunra, you've been silent the whole time.
Bro, I had so much to say. I couldn't get to it. Y'all was going back and forth. I couldn't even get to it. So hopefully next week, boy, I'll drop it. Because I'm still stuck on Tyson. I had a lot to say about Tyson. You know what I'm saying?
We were waiting for you to interject. This is why I tell them off of the show. That's why we tell them we want to go at least an hour.
Because Tyson almost knocked that white boy out. But y'all see, the world missed it. He had to slow down. So my mind was still stuck on that. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot to get. Woo!
Why you should I hate it. Wait, because we want you on the show. So
yeah. So the new brother, he was very excited to speak. So I wanted to let him go ahead and just get it off his mind. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. So any thoughts on the Trump UFOs? Like you said, your favorite thing is the Tyson fight.
So look, Trump UFO, we are in the age of revelation. They cannot fully disclose. There will never be full disclosure. Why? Because the U.S. government is working with Draco-Aliens, and they're trafficking humans for food and slavery. So there'll never be full disclosure. You know what I'm saying? Trump is just the latest puppet. That's all that is.
Wait, Trump is what?
Trump is just the latest puppet of a Draco authority.
So that's
we're gonna have to hit that next week.
No. Why did you have to say that kind of bar at the end, man?
That's what I wanted to say in the first place, but I couldn't get it out. Y'all was going back and forth. I kept going back and forth.
Our mind's gonna be racing.
So next week, y'all, Wednesday, 8 p.m. I'm your host, Jason Elm Street Williams, Master of the Universe, and we have a virtual reality campus coming in 2025. A solution to combat the miseducation system, education reform. Right here in virtual reality, we can teach ourselves, our students, all this information that we need to survive this wealth gap so we can provide wealth and riches for our people and communicate effectively and not get left behind in the 21st century with the digital technology. And as always, I leave you with Jason Visits the Museum, one of the hottest books on the planet on Amazon.
Yeah.
And Jason wins the game about ADHD and making reading fun again. And be sure to be on the lookout for Jason and the Lost Pyramid. Once again, I'm Jason Elm Street Williams. This is What is the Matrix TV, and you are living in a video game like Sim City 2000 are the Sims. And now we are waking up and realizing we're in a Matrix.
For peace.
So let's get into it next week. Peace.
Let's do peace.
Bye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is the Matrix?
That was pretty good.
Top, man. I loved it. I was gonna add that, but I
Maybe
don't know
it's
if
the
y'all-
weed got me. Maybe it's these trees got me. Maybe it's these hoes got me. Maybe it's this stroll that got me. Maybe it's these clothes got me. Maybe it's these laws got me. Maybe it's my dogs got me. Maybe it's these bras got me. Maybe it's this man that got me. Maybe it's my clan that got me. Maybe it's my fam that got me. My plans, my plans. The Matrix, Matrix.
When I wake up in the morning.
Welcome to the world-famous King Tut Museum. Be sure to respect the ancient relics. The ancient Egyptians were a magical people who built numerous beautiful, magnificent structures, like the world-famous pyramids and temples. No running inside. Scientists till this very day still do not know how the Egyptians built the pyramids.
I wonder, did aliens ever visit ancient Egypt?
Wow, look at that giant Egyptian statue. It looks just like you, Jason.
Thanks, Toby. You're a super cool friend. Imagine what the world would look like if I was the pharaoh.
Jason, you are daydreaming. Wake up.
Sorry, history got away from me.